I've seen a lot of talk about characters that deserve one for all more than Deku, namely Mirio. But I don't think he should be the only one considered a true contender. So I decided to sit down and figure out who exactly would be a good replacement for Deku in the instance that he was for some reason killed or never even inherited it in the first place. My main points for deciding this come down to 3 factors: how much they resemble All Might's ideals of being a symbol of peace, their personality, and the potential ability to control one for all. I'll be including a score out of a possible 5 for each category, just so you can see why I've placed them where I have. At number 5, I have Bakugo. I feel like I'll get some flack for putting him here, but I feel like my reasoning is strong enough to justify it. Bakugo is a powerful hero already in his own right. His quirk Explosion gives him a natural edge when it comes to controlling the often volatile recoil of his own quirk, so I think he would quickly be able to grasp that same kind of control with One For All. Honestly, he might be the best suited right off the bat, besides maybe my number 1 pick. His disposition is a definite weakness though. I mean, his personality is about as explosive as his quirk, and twice as caustic in most situations, as shown during the provisional license exam arc when he was unable to inspire hope in the civilians. This can be further shown from his aggressive stance towards others he considers beneath him, due to being told he was the best at everything as a child. This initially left me anxious about the possibility of him becoming a villain, up until the Hideout Raid arc in which he explained that though he has a disdain for other heroes, All Might is the one person he begrudgingly looks up to, and he is convinced he will one day surpass him as a hero, not a villain. But I can't give him full points for living up to All Might's ideals, because he would rather work to surpass All Might as opposed to upholding the peace and instilling hope and happiness into those he protects. For that, I give him a 2 out of 5. As for his personality, he easily earns poor marks with a 2 out of 5. And finally, a 5 out of 5 for his ability to potentially control One For All. For those keeping score, that gives him a composite of 9 out of 15. At number 4, I have Sun Eater. This is a pretty easy one for me to place. I really like his character, but there are a few things that hold me back from putting him any higher in the list. While he wants to be the kind of hero that others can look up to and depend on, it's hampered by his low self-esteem. This would be potentially demoralizing to civilians who require someone to look up to for protection. The main reason I felt like I had to put him on the list is for the other 2 categories. While his personality is fairly weak, especially when compared to the other characters on this list, he more than makes up for it with his ideals of wanting to be the kind of person Mirio could respect, even if he doesn't realize that Mirio already feels like he is a great hero. That's not even to mention the plethora of ways he could make himself durable enough to use One For All using his quirk Manifest. He could do anything from manifesting the chitinous armor similar to Kirishima's hardening quirk, to manifesting the clamshells to cushion the blows on his hands. And because of that, for his ability to control One For All due to the versatility of his original quirk, I award him a 5 out of 5. For his wish to protect others and wanting to live up to the expectations of Mirio and others, I give him a 4 out of 5. The only low mark he earns is for his personality, and I give him a 1 out of 5, finishing with a total of 10 out of 15. Coming in at number 3 is Best Boy Kirishima. He was born with a weak quirk that he strengthened through his wish to protect those he cared about. He's willing to go as far as sacrificing himself to keep others safe, similar to Deku. He felt a lot of regret about not being able to protect some of his classmates from Gigantomachia in middle school, which caused him to go through a change in both personality and body, thanks to the manly words of Crimson Riot, his favorite hero. I honestly feel like this is one of the biggest reasons I can't put him at the top of the list. It might be dumb, but I think Kirishima would probably refuse the powers of One For All because he likes the idea of having a quirk similar to that of his personal hero. Regardless, with his hardening quirk and One For All, it would do well to back up his defense with the phenomenal hitting power of One For All. That isn't even to mention the fact that he would be much less likely to break his bones every time he used the powers, due to the defensive natures of his original quirk. So for me, he gets a 3 out of 5 for representing All Might's will, mostly due to Crimson Riot's ideals being fairly similar to All Might's while having their own personal spin. A 5 out of 5 for his cheery disposition and willingness to save others, and a 4 out of 5 for being able to control the quirk due to his naturally durable body while lacking the versatility Sun Eater has, earning him a pretty impressive 12 out of 15 considering who he's going up against. At number 2 is Mirio. Yeah, I don't think this one surprised anyone. There's a reason Nezu and Sir Night-Eye considered him the best candidate out of all the students of UA. Well, a couple of reasons actually. Mirio is constantly shown to be one of the most upbeat young students willing to help others, even if he recognizes that he is being used for others' personal gain, such as when he introduced Deku to Night-Eye during the Overhaul arc. This builds directly into the next point. Even after losing his quirk, instead of running away, he stands against Overhaul, a villain with the ability to almost instantly kill anyone he touches. That isn't even to mention that he gets Overhaul to concede that he lost the fight, while outnumbering Mirio several times over. It's the final category that holds him back from taking the top spot though. I have my doubts that he wouldn't have a similarly hard time to controlling One For All like Deku at the start. While he does have a better physique than Deku, I'm not sure how well it would hold up against the continual duress of wielding it. For this, I have to award him a 3 out of 5 for controlling All For One, as I can't definitively say one way or the other how well he would be able to control it. For the other two categories, I give him a solid 5 out of 5 though, for his likable personality and the aura of confidence he typically exudes when facing down adversaries, even when his back is up against the wall. And that lands him with 13 out of 15. Now before we get to who I consider to be the best possible successor to All Might, I have one honorable mention, Eri. This might seem like a weird choice at first, but I honestly think this would be the most broken combination. I mean, we even see that during the Overhaul arc, but I couldn't include her for a few reasons. First, Eri is still just a little girl, and thus wouldn't be able to handle the power of One For All in the slightest. You might make the argument that she could just reverse her own body, but we don't even know if that's a possibility at this point, let alone the fact that she has little to no control over her quirk due to the mental, physical, and emotional abuse Overhaul inflicted on her. And that's the final reason. That abuse would make her much less likely to use such a destructive power, especially if she suffered the same kind of backlash that Deku faced for fear of having a relapse. While she has the potential to be a great user of One For All, these reasons disqualify her from true contention. Just for completion's sake though, I'll include how I think she would potentially rank after overcoming these deficiencies. She has a kind personality and has already shown that she is pretty selfless by allowing herself to be recaptured by Overhaul after he threatens Deku and Mirio. For that, I give her a 5 out of 5. We don't know anything about her personal philosophies, but under Aizawa and Mirio's guidance, I can only assume that she will nurture the same kind of wish to protect others while bringing them hope and happiness, earning her a potential 5 out of 5. As for her ability to control One For All, I would give her a 4 out of 5, as I'm not entirely convinced if she could rewind her own injuries. That gives her a score of 14 out of 15, though it would take a lot of time and perseverance to reach the potential I see in her. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, the one you've all been waiting for. Who do I consider the best replacement for All Might? Number 1. Fat Gum. His ability Fat Absorption allows him to absorb damage dealt to him. This might just be enough for him to control and absorb the explosive powers of One For All, along with his naturally powerful build while in his skinny mode after using the reflective abilities of his original quirk. I do feel it's only fair to dock a point though, as I can't be entirely sure that he would have complete control of One For All. He's also noted for being positive and working well with other heroes, and being highly regarded by civilians for his cheery personality. Alongside that, he's also fiercely protective of said civilians and his sidekick Sun Eater and Kirishima as well. He even went so far as to put his life on the line to protect Kirishima during their fight with Rappa and Tengai. To me, that seems like the perfect recipe for being a symbol of peace, and would make him a worthy inheritor for One For All. I really can't think of anything major to fault him for, forcing me to give him a 14 out of 15. I know most won't agree with me, mostly because he only gets like 5 minutes to show off what he's really made of, but even with that, I had to crown Fat Gum as my choice for succeeding All Might. Honestly, even I didn't really consider him at first, but the more I thought about it, the more it just made sense. Who do you think would make a good replacement for All Might? Tell me down in the comments. Or maybe you just want to tell me you think I'm dumb. Tell me down there too. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more content in the near future if you're so inclined. That's gonna be it for me. Have a good day, my dudes.